Do not forget you have a test coming up Friday. This lesson here, 1.7a, so 2 lessons on 1.7. They're very similar, but the processes have a different look. It is important that you understand the material from this lesson so we can wrap up in part B. What does distributive property tell me to do? The key word in this property is distribute. Sorry, there's a T there. The distributive property tells us to distribute the operation to 2 or more numbers. The distributive property of multiplication is the act of distributing a value to 2 or more values inside of a parentheses. The best way to view the distributive property is as a group of friends meeting a random person. So if you had this set up here, this would be Max and Tim, who are both friends. The reason I know they're friends is because they're grouped together and James wants to meet them. So what happens is James will meet Max and shake hands, and James will meet Tim. That's all. So James will meet Max and James will meet Tim. Why will Max not meet Tim? Because Max and Tim are friends, so there's no need for that. Same thing here. Pat, Kim, and Trish are all friends. How do I know that? Because they're in parentheses. So what's going to happen is Bree is going to meet Pat, and Bree is going to meet Kim, and always use a plus. Bree is going to meet Trish. And that is that's really the distributive property right there. And that is the meeting step that you're going to have to write on your math, is the part where the outside number using parentheses and plus signs meets the numbers on the inside. If you do not use this mode, again, I hope you're listening right now, not just kind of letting it play, it will not count it right. So when it says show the meeting, it means show me the numbers meeting plus numbers meeting plus numbers meeting, and that should be it. When working with terms containing variables, multiply the numbers and add the variables. So in this case, you say 5 times 8 is 40, and there is 1x there. So that's how you would do 5 times 8x. Here, negative 4 times 9, we just learned, is negative 36 because there's one negative, and there is one y there. Here, negative 3 times negative 6 is positive 18 with 2 t's, so it should be t squared. And the last one, that should be negative 16, and then alphabetize your letters G and H, and that is it. So I told you, I think in the last lesson, that it's sign and value. Now it's 3 things: sign, value, variable. And yes, again, if you're going to be doing this for a long time, you need to make sure you accept that you are now being more responsible, more caring about the answer that it really is. To wrap up the lesson, we put these parts together. Be sure to take good notes and ask about anything that is still not understood. Again, the best way to perform it properly is to slow down and allow the numbers to do all of the work. So, let's look at these examples, and then let's get your notes up, which I forgot to do last time. Again, on your homework, you will be expected to show the meetings on a lot of these, so make sure you understand this is what you'll have to do. So I would copy these examples because they won't be shown on your notes later. No, they won't. And so what I get is negative 3 meets 4x, just like Bree met Pat and all that stuff. Use a plus at all times, and then negative 3 meets negative 7. You will have to show this step. From there, we get negative 12x. That'll be plus 21 because that's 2 negatives, and that is your answer. There's 2 boxes. One box should have this, one box should have that. If you have an issue, email it to me. I can help you. In this problem, the negative, it is a negative one, but it's the negative meets 4m squared, and the negative meets 3m, and the negative meets negative 6. One negative in this, making this negative 4m squared. One negative in this, making this minus 3m. But look at this one, this has 2 negatives, which makes it plus 6. Really all I did was I flipped the signs over. So a negative on the outside pretty much means take everything on the inside and flip it over. Yes, you will have questions like these also. Pretty much all these are questions you're probably eventually going to see on your test. So be ready for all of them. Here, 1/4 meets negative 48. And 1/4 meets 12x. Whenever you multiply a whole number times a fraction, multiply the whole number to the top. So 48 times 1 would be negative 48 over 4. This would be a positive 12x over 4. 48 divided by 4, 4 goes into 4 once, 4 goes into 8 twice, 4 goes into 12 3 times, with 1x. That would be your answer. Again, this is should be on your homework at some point. I don't remember because I did all your work over the course of the weekend, and I don't remember exactly what's been going on. Anyway, here, 0.4 meets 12a, and 0.4 meets negative 4.3. Pay attention to the sign. Keep the sign with the number. 12 times 4 is 48, so it'll be 4.8a. 43 times 4 would be 160 plus 12, which would be 172. With 2 decimals, is that 1.72? It is 1.72. Look at me. So negative 1.72 would be there. And that is your answer. Alright. Again, if it asks for the meetings, it's asking for this step. And so you need to do that step using parentheses and using a plus sign to connect them. If you do not use parentheses and a plus sign to connect them, I don't care what the answer shows. I programmed the question. It is going to go off of what I expect you to type in. So again, if you're having issues, send me an email immediately with that picture so I can correct what you did and understand that the main thing I'm trying to do is to get you better at the distributive property, and the best way to learn the distributive property is to know how to do this. Now, you don't have to do that on every single question, I believe, but you do need to do it on, I think there's a high amount of them that you have to do that on, and so I need you to make sure you are disciplined enough to try to actually get this. Again, you are not in math right now to just earn a grade. If you're 5 weight, you have the expectation of actually trying to get it down to use it later, and in order to use it later, you have to actually master this stuff. And so that means you need to do it in the proper way, and that way whenever I take the reins off, which I eventually do, you at least have the idea. The distributive property of multiplication is extremely important to your algebra success. If you practice the skill correctly, you'll eventually be able to work out your steps in your head. That's what I'm trying to get you used to. If you attempt to skip steps in the early phase, you will make many small mistakes. Be patient. You will get better with time. Do not forget there is a test coming up, which means that, again, taking too many shortcuts is going to cost you points. It's going to cost you a grade. Failing this class means you would have to drop down to a 4. So make sure you work as if it's urgent, because if you don't treat it like it's urgent now, it might be urgent later, and you probably won't make it later. Do it now. Here's your notes. Again, don't forget to answer the question at the end of the video. Good luck.